This week on WestfordCAT News, the school committee learns of a slight windfall. The finalists for the superintendent's job give it their all.
I love this community. I love this district. I love what we've been doing. I respect and appreciate the work that my colleagues have been doing.
And the May 4th election will bring contested races to town. I'm Joyce Polino-Crane. Stay with us. WestfordCAT News is next. School committee members this week escorted the 4 superintendent finalists to meet teachers, students, administrators, and the general public. The candidates also met with the committee to answer questions and discuss their operational approach in overseeing a public school system. In alphabetical order, they are Margaret Adams, Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning in the Melrose Public Schools, Christopher Chu, Principal of Stony Brook School here in Westford, Matthew Jane Garr, Arlington High School Principal, and Michelle E. Shannon, Executive Vice President of Client Services, New York City Leadership Academy. All 4 have doctoral degrees. And here are a few clips from their interviews with school committee members over the past week.
So there's a desire to be innovative and looking forward. And I think that's something we've also strived to do. I've strived to do with my staff is say, how do we continually be in a cycle of improvement and getting better? And so do we make sure that we're meeting the needs of all of our students and really preparing them for the 21st century.
With a variety of paths and options available to you, why Westford, why you as a candidate, and why now?
When I was looking, for me now is a good time to be a superintendent. I want to find a place where I can spend the next 8 to 9 years. It depends how you look at the retirement chart, where before I retire, I think it's 9, and spend it in one place and really devote the remainder of my career in one place. And if I'm going to make that change into the superintendency, it feels like right now is the right time.
There are different paths to the Office of Superintendent, many districts that one can work in. With a variety of paths and options available, why you as a candidate, why Westford, and why now?
Okay. Wow. Great. I'm going to take it apart and not necessarily do it in order. Why Westford? Well, because I believe deeply in the work that we're doing here. I love this community. I love this district. I love what we've been doing. I respect and appreciate the work that my colleagues have been doing as well. I believe in the direction that we're headed. I believe in the future of this district. And while I appreciate how phenomenally great it is, I also see how it can continue to grow. And so I'm very passionate about that. I'm not interested in applying to become a superintendent in a different district. I am ready to become a superintendent. I have loved my work at the building level. I have loved it. And I feel like I am ready to expand the number of people for whom I'm advocating, to expand that to the entire district. So why now? Frankly, I'm very concerned about the future, and I'm concerned that if someone who knows the work that we've been doing and is familiar with, I think, our struggles and our successes, wasn't able to step into the leadership position, then I would be concerned about the potential direction that the district could go.
What in your professional experience qualifies you to lead and manage such a large and varied organization that serves nearly 5,000 students and their families?
So one, training. I've trained with the MBA. We did strategic planning. We did business planning. We did structural, budget and long-term planning for organizations. In my field work and educational research, a big piece of that was looking at how the institutions that we would go into could they say, we want to do this. And you say, well, do you have in place the supports, the programming, the funding, the budgets, the staffing to actually do what it is you need to do? And then, my last two jobs, it's an order of magnitude, right? We had 500 students and a $9 million budget at MDI, Mount Desert Island. And I actually had more control of the budget there than I do here. But here I have a 400,000 square foot facility. We house in the high school, the preschool, town IT, town comptroller, the departmental offices, the daycare program, community education. So we have classes. Our building is running 24/7 with programs and people from the community, other things. And we supervise and support that. And at its very heart, right, the reason why I want to be superintendent is because that needs to not be the problem of teachers, right? Teachers need to have the opportunity to focus on the kids and have what it is they need and be, treated as sort of the customers. They're the frontline folks that need to be able to do their job and not worrying about whether they can do things or not.
This model that you all came up with has been one of the most stable models that I've seen. So I want to also just highlight that, right? So there's some good things happening. And I really would want to learn from the students, the teachers, principals, and the district team, which pieces of this puzzle we need to keep. Like, do we need to keep and have some sort of remote learning academy for the students who are really thriving in this environment right now? I mean, do we need to go to the commissioner to petition, right, for how can we extend our remote learning academy and make it a central part of our school culture? Our town culture. I just think that, I was talking to the teachers about how hard it was to shift to virtual teaching, and had a teacher talk about, she didn't really want to do it. She hated making the videos, but now she realizes how videotaping some of her lessons has freed her up to actually actively engage her students in the learning, the grappling, the productive struggle that our students need. And so I want to capitalize on that.
The news was good. More funds came to light, calming concerns about a projected shortfall of $444,000 in the school department's budget. Hearing and reading comments from anxious parents over his proposed Tier 1 through 4 money-saving transportation solution in January, Superintendent Bill Olson backed away from the proposal. Instead, he negotiated a revised contract with the owners of D-Bus service to reduce costs. Olson's original budget omitted $271,511 in elementary and secondary school Relief 2 funds. He said they were not included in the fiscal 2022 budget because he didn't know whether federal lawmakers had established parameters for their use. Olson received another $137,580 from the Student Opportunity Act. He recommended saving half in the general fund and using the remainder to hire 2 social adjustment counselors for fiscal 2022, which begins July 1st.
We sought to reduce the budget by $444,000 by reconfiguring start times, which has been a goal of yours and been a goal of mine for the last 2 to 3 years. And so that savings allowed us a little bit of flexibility of changing school start times around. Chris, do you have the slides there that we can put up on the screen?
I'll bring this right up.
Yeah. So back in January, I originally made a proposal that we received parental input on. A lot of the input focused on the fact that there was too much time between the K-2 and the 3 to 5 students in terms of the configuration of their start times, that it would have involved about 1 hour and 40 minutes. And so I came back after talking with the leadership team with a proposal on March 1st. And I want to stress that this is a model that continues to be recommended by all of us, the principals and the central office administrators, which, yes, it does start elementary children earlier, but it does help us really observe the importance of sleep as it pertains to adolescence and depression, anxiety, alertness, academic performance. And so this was the schedule that I brought to you on March 1st. It continued to provide the intended cost savings. It better aligned the start times with research and adolescent sleep needs. It improved the progression of sequencing in a more logical order from a parent's perspective. As I said, it eliminated that 1 hour and 40-minute gap between bus pickups and bus drop-offs in the proposal that I brought forth on January 11th. And it shrank the overall window of time in terms of arrival and dismissal. So those were the positives. But once again, we heard from the community, and I have about 30 pages of questions that I have reviewed and made notes on. And a lot of the comments from parents that it was too much of a departure from the customary start times, that the childcare issues were really significant to parents, particularly in the afternoon, where children would have to spend a considerable degree longer in childcare, which really comes at quite a cost to parents, and we understand that.
To watch the entire school committee meeting on demand, visit WestfordCAT.org. The Parish Center for the Arts Artist of the Month exhibit is being held virtually. Here's Patty Stocker with more.
Hi, Patty Stocker here from WestfordCAT with a special series that focuses on regional artists that are scheduled to display their work at the Parish Center for the Arts Artist of the Month virtual exhibitions. The month of March through mid-April of 2021 features 4 local artists whose artworks range from nature, animal subjects, and landscapes created in oils, pastels, acrylics, and ink drawings. Cindy Harris, Oksana Zatkina-Puera, John Sturm, and Mary Sullivan have known each other for many years. Harris, Zatkina-Puera, and Sullivan all work in the Harvard public school system. All artists enjoy creating art en plein air or outside.
I love to paint outside in plein air. And Oksana and I, the Rosalie's view of Mount Monadnock, I did with Oksana. We painted together that day. My passion it's animals, and especially, I guess, birds. That's what my daughter pointed out to me. I love the birds. I guess that came from my childhood, and in college, I actually was a graphic design major, and I went to the University of Georgia, and I have always been environmentally aware, and especially the endangered species are something that I guess it's what has inspired a lot of my paintings. I like to make portraits of animals, and you've pointed out the eyes of my animals. I feel like the eyes express the soul.
Oksana Zatkina-Puera enjoys getting together with other artists to paint plein air. For most of her landscapes, she either starts the painting on site and continues working later, or completes a small painting for future reference. Oil is her favorite paint medium, but she also does some acrylic painting. She sketches with pencils or a ballpoint pen. She loves the ocean and visits beaches year-round. John Sturm has spent most of his art career doing street art in and around the New York City area. John is never without his art materials, and wherever people are, he is exploring the possibilities. While most of his ink art was done in New York City, when he moved to New Hampshire, he started watercolor painting while hiking the trails of New Hampshire. Mary Sullivan is a graduate of Mass College of Art and Design with a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in painting and illustration. Mary works primarily in oil pastels and acrylics, concentrating on textures and shapes in landscape and figures. She's worked in interior design, freelance design, and education. To see the entire Paris Center for the Arts virtual Un Plein Air Artist Exhibit, visit westford.org/PCA. Go to westfordcat.org or our YouTube channel to see other spotlights on PCA artists. For Westford Cat, I'm Patty Stalker.
A quick reminder, Westford, that the townwide election will take place on May 4th, and there are contested races for school committee and select board. The deadline to file nomination papers signed by at least 50 Westford voters was March 16th. That's it for now, Westford. I'm Joyce Polino Crane, and you're watching Westford Cat News.